hi, I'm Jamie. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it. I just will say now, I was a huge fan of Lost, so excited to talk to you. But I really like Moonhaven. I've seen the whole season, so I really enjoyed it. But this is such a unique show. Can you kind of talk a bit about sort of how Paul, I guess, fits into all the moving pieces?
The character that I play, Paul Sarno, is a detective on the moon, where Earth has become kind of uninhabitable, and his level of detective work on the moon is kind of helping old ladies across the street and the kind of community leader. And then some very serious crimes and murders start to occur on the moon. So you watch a guy kind of being a police officer for the first time and adopting a very idealistic kind of positive outlook on life, and realizing that maybe everything is not entirely what he thinks it seems to be.
Right. So do you like puzzles and mysteries and that kind of thing? I mean, do you think you would make a good detective?
I guess it depends how personally invested I was in that mission. You know, I do like some mysteries. I like some mystery shows. I like some mystery books. I've done some escape rooms in my time, some which have been successful, some have not. But yeah, I definitely like I like exploring a little bit of mystery. I'm curious about stuff, you know, and I think it's fascinating when we find things that are unexplained, you know.
All right. At first, Paul seems to think everything, like you said, is perfect, and obviously it's not. Until he talks to her and she sort of changes his outlook and he starts to see what's really going on. Can you sort of talk about like his journey and sort of that shift in his outlook and sort of realizing that things aren't quite what they seem?
Yeah, I think Moon is, and certainly Paul is quite naive about humans. He thinks that humans can be taken on face value, that they don't lie, that they're nice people at their core, that everybody wants to help everyone else, and that's what being a human means. And I think the character that Emma plays, Bella, you know, kind of reminds him that, you know, that's not how it works on Earth, and that people are out to get theirs, and that people can be destructive and unkind for no particular reason, and that you have to be a little bit more wily, let's say, if you're a detective trying to solve a set of very serious crimes on the moon. So I think it's a learning experience for him, in the same way that it's a learning experience for Emma's character, because she realizes that, you know, maybe people can also be good, and maybe she can learn to trust people at the same time.
Can you talk a bit about working with Emma?
Emma's great. Emma's an English person like I am, so we're able to bond a lot about hobnobs and Marmite and football and pubs and stuff like that. You know, we probably worked more than any other two actors on the show, so we also bonded about those things. And we're also two sides of the scale. You know, my character is extremely naive and innocent, and her character is extremely cynical and has her own issues. So I think we're arriving at the story on two extreme sides of the scale, and yeah, it was fun hanging out with Emma.
When I was talking to Emma, she was saying how she sort of lived alone and moved away from everything, because I know you were in Ireland. It's gorgeous. How did you sort of prepare? I mean, did you take a different approach? Your character isn't quite as, you know, pushing away from everybody, so I assume that you didn't do that. But
well, we were going through, kind of coming towards the end of the first lockdown in Ireland. So for the first kind of half of the show, none of us were allowed to do anything. We would come to work and then go home. We weren't allowed to, we were not expected to be going to restaurants or pubs or anything like that. We weren't allowed to hang out with any of the crew or cast outside of work. So, you know, my life was kind of isolated as well as everyone else's. Yeah, I'm a big football fan, so I ended up just watching a bunch of football, playing a bunch of video games. I had a pool table in my house, so I got better and better at pool. And I don't, you know, when you go to work, especially when you're playing a character that I play, you're interacting with, you know, 100, 150 people a day. So when I come home at night, I probably need to be on my own. It's probably helpful to be on my own. Not only that, but you know, I have 10, 12, 15 pages to pull to learn for the next day. So after 30 years of working, I realized that what I need to do after a day's work is prepare for the next one.
Just relax. Yeah. What part of the character did you find the most difficult to connect to?
Probably his naivety. He's quite innocent and childlike about people. Just thinks that people are nice, just thinks that people won't lie to him, just thinks that people will be kind and that they'll do the right thing. And I think, even though I'm not necessarily cynical, I think I'm realistic about humans, and I think I'm mindful about how I approach humans, and make sure that I don't put myself in harm's way. And the cats that I play consistently puts himself in harm's way because he always thinks that humans will be good. He always gives them the benefit of the doubt.
Can you talk about working with the special effects? I mean, obviously you've done a lot of that before, but do you like kind of working with green screen and all that? Do you find it tedious? How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's just part of your job, really. It can be a little tedious, but that is what it means to be an actor. You are literally expected to feel feelings that you're not having, and see things that you're not seeing, and have experiences that you're not experiencing. So if someone puts a green screen in front of your face and says, there's a mountain, or there's a dragon, or there's a smoke monster, you just have to make out that is indeed what you are seeing. So it's not something that I've not done before. It's just a part of the job, in the same way that maybe you'll wear a wig, or you might have blood on your face. It's just another part of what it means to be an actor,
All right. It has a lot of good practical things, though, too. A lot of really beautiful practical sets. Do you have a favorite part of a set or prop or anything like that kind of stood out to you?
I like the Chancellor, which it looks like a gun. Myself and Kadeem Hardison's character Arlo both wear these things on our waistband, which looks like a gun. It's called the Chancellor, and you just point it at anything in the world and it gives you the information back. So when we see a dead body, we're able to point the Chancellor at the dead body, and it tells us who the body is, when they died, how they died, who killed them, where you can find the murderer. I thought that was a really interesting concept about the show.
How was choreography? I can't get the word out. Dancing in that one scene. That scene was so hilarious. I love that. At the end.
Yeah, it was great.
Moonhaven.
It was great. I was really close with Josh, the young actor who plays my son. It's great to hang out with young people. He's only 17. I'm 45, so I'm now at a point in my life where I can very often be older than a lot of the actors on these shows, and it's refreshing to be around young people. We spent 3 or 4 sessions together for a couple of hours learning the dance and having fun with each other and giving each other a hard time when we got it wrong. And it was great fun, and I love preparing, and I love dancing. It's a really fun thing to do. It's great to express yourself that way, and that was one of the standout days on set. I had a great time, and I also did a little dance with the girl who plays my daughter Martha, and she's a lovely little girl as well. So yeah, really fun day on set.
Do you have a favorite scene that you can tease without spoiling too much?
Well, any of the times that myself and Kadeem are pretending to be Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson is always fun. The character that Kadeem plays is fascinated by the work of Sherlock Holmes, and I have to kind of rein him in a little bit and remind him that this is real life work. But I'm also kind of tickled by the fact that he wants to be Sherlock Holmes or Watson. So I think any of those things, the scenes with Kadeem is kind of fun and slightly bordering on being funny, whilst also exploring something serious at the same time. And as an actor, that's like an interesting tightrope to walk and fun thing to explore.
All right. And that's a perfect segue, talking about Sherlock. Can you talk a bit about working on Moriarty, the book? Kind of how did you get involved in that? And also, what's it like kind of building a character like that when there's been so many versions of him before? How did you, make it your own?
You just have to kind of ignore what's come before, otherwise you get yourself in trouble, So I'm a fan of Sherlock Holmes's work, the work of Arthur Conan Doyle, but also, any of these other fictional understandings of Sherlock Holmes. But I tried to avoid them when I was making Moriarty, the Devil's Game. I was developing a show with Treefort Media about football, about soccer, which ended up kind of falling by the wayside in the development process. But we were keen to find something, and at that point we just said, what about this world of Sherlock Holmes? There's so many more stories to tell and so many more characters to jump into. And then it became this idea of, what if we explore the life span of Moriarty and the fact that he thinks he's doing the right thing and that Sherlock Holmes is the bad guy. And then that gave us an opportunity for me to reach out to Billy Boyd, who I worked with on Lord of the Rings, 20 years ago, and see if he wanted to come in and play my right-hand man, which he did. And it was a ton of fun. And you can listen to that on Audible right now.
How much more difficult is it using just your voice and not kind of having your body to act with? Is that more difficult for you, or does it really not make a difference?
It's kind of the same because I'm still using my body. You just don't see it, even though I'm attached to a set of headphones and a microphone in front of me, I'm still using my body. If I'm running, I'm trying as hard as I can to run, and if I'm in a fight, I'm trying as hard as I can to be in a fight. It's just that you don't see it. So I don't necessarily approach these different mediums in any other way. It's just like, can I make these characters real? Can they feel real? Can they feel like they live and breathe and exist in the real world? And if that's the case, then I've done my job,
All right. You mentioned Billy, but you made me wonder, I'm just curious, what do you get most recognized for? Lost, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, you've been in so many things. What do people usually approach you about?
I don't know, probably Lord of the Rings just, but Lost is still pretty big. It just depends. I mean, I did a convention last week and someone only recognized me from this Eminem video that I did. And they, have you done anything else? And I said, yeah, I've done a few things. And they're like, what else? And I was like, oh, just a few things. Cause it's not my job to tell people what they should or shouldn't be watching, So it's curious sometimes where people know you from, but I think probably Lord of the Rings just edges it, just.
All right. Well, I did want to ask you one thing about Lost. If they ever did do like a reunion or a remake or anything like that, would you be up for it if they asked you to do it?
No.
No. Why not?
Why would I? What would I benefit from going back to do it? I wouldn't play the character that I played in Lord of the Rings again. I've done it. It was great. I had a great time. Going back to it just dilutes that work, and it's the same with Lost. I played a fantastic character that seemed to resonate with an audience. And if I did a reunion, all I'm doing is talking about old times. And if the show came back and I played Charlie, the only opportunity that I would have would be to dilute my character. So I just have no interest, really.
Well, he's also gone too, which I didn't think through when I asked that.
Yeah, but everyone's gone in Lost, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So what kind of character though would you like to play? Like if you could write your own, any kind of character, either one that's like already a character or something completely different, what do you still want to do as an actor?
Oh, there's so many things that I want to do. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm kind of moving into a point in my career now where I'm playing a lot of dance. I enjoy playing fathers. It's nice to play a fatherly type figure. That's always fun. I don't know. I mean, it would be great to play an out and out good guy, and then after that, play an out and out bad guy. There's nothing in particular that I'm drawn to apart from fantastic characters. Hopefully, if you look back at the work that I've done, all of the projects that I've picked are just great characters, even if they're not in the projects that much. They're fantastic, well-rounded characters. So that's the only thing that I look for. Are they real? Can I make them more real?
Great. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you get a season 2. I really enjoyed it, so I want to see more.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Have a good day.